and that is going to city, and it's going to be an interesting forecast as we go forward. As you mentioned, there is a chance for rain. So that is topic number 2 that we're about to get to: pop-up showers and thunderstorms. And Brittany, personally, sometimes we attach to favorite weather terms. This is one of my favorites: the burning ring of fire.
I know you were doing the impressions all morning long.
I hear that train a-coming.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun
rolling
time.
Around the band.
But honestly, sometimes when we have these, it's not always fun, I guess, to forecast for when it can cause severe storms here in the Carolinas. But it's interesting to see these patterns and that they happen multiple times, throughout the year sometimes. And this is the first time for us this year in 2023.
Yeah, and sometimes they're called ridge riders. So this is a ridge of high pressure, and that's why we've had that dome of heat in Texas, Louisiana, close to the Mississippi Valley. And yesterday, you might have heard the term derecho, which is a widespread wind event. This can go for miles, and it started in Nebraska to Iowa and went all the way through Illinois. And that's what typically these patterns will do. Now, what's maddening here for the Carolinas is that these pieces of energy, these MCSs as we call them, so mesoscale convective systems, can hold together for hours and sometimes through the overnight. And you're actually looking at the dying edge of one right there. So still a lot of thunderstorm activity for the western Carolinas, but we're dealing with a little bit of light rain heading into the morning. But then you're also noticing for the afternoon, we have a low risk for severe storms.
Yeah, and I think that's what you mentioned. It's really hard to forecast for, and that's what can be extremely frustrating. For us, we're pretty stable, and really the smoke and the haze has actually helped a little bit because it's helped with some of the instability, and that's one of the reasons, of course, why we haven't been dealing with as much of storm activity this morning, just some light rain, but this afternoon, more storms, low risk of severe storms, and then tomorrow, that risk is even a little bit higher.
Yeah, and it's all about the timing of the day. So if you get a storm system in the morning, of course, it's a lot more stable, but then again in the afternoon, that's going to be prime time, and that's why I think that we have a better risk for tomorrow. Whenever you're in that medium threat, that's a better chance that the storm is going to hold together. And the type of scenario that we're about to show you here in our future cast is going to almost form what we call a multi-cluster of thunderstorms that will really form a line. So, I hate when things advance on me. There we go. All right. So
technology is great.
Technology is great. Also, I was a little fat on the button here. So we have some scattered rain this morning, as I mentioned. Not a lot coming with this. It's going to be fairly light. But then we get a nice mix of clouds and sunshine that's going to be advancing through the day. But then that also leads to an unstable air mass. And then, Brittany, this doesn't look to be super impressive. So I think this is really more of kind of like an isolated or cluster of thunderstorms for the afternoon here.
Yeah, and but also you can have one severe thunderstorm morning, and then technically that's a low risk, in my mind. I think what is interesting, which you noted this before, is anytime you get showers and storms, especially with those MCSs that can linger into the evening and then eventually overnight, it can be more unsafe just because a lot of people are, at home, asleep. It can catch you off guard. So we always encourage, of course, those alerts and the WCNC Charlotte app.
Yeah, and that's going to be the thing. Some of these can be a little bit sneaky, and so many times since I've been here in the Carolinas, you call for no rain, and all of a sudden widespread rain in the morning. And I think our best chance for rain, if you have any weekend plans, is going to be Saturday afternoon. And that also correlates with that medium threat that we were seeing. And here's the reason why this lines up. This is 4 p.m. Notice that you see a bunch of segmented storms, and then once you see the next run close to 6 p.m., they start gathering strength. So whenever they start to form a line, that usually means you have a large push of stronger winds on that frontal boundary. It turns into a squall line. Sometimes you can turn to bow echoes, all part of fancy terms like MCSs that we're developing. So that's why I think you could have more of a widespread chance for some wind damage, but it's really only going to be the first couple of minutes on the leading edge of these storms that the damage is done.
Yeah, it's not going to be like long-term widespread happening for hours and hours. And we say this a lot, when we talk about severe weather. In terms of damage from severe thunderstorms, 90% of it here in the Carolinas is from wind. So truthfully, I feel like we focus a lot, right, on the quick spin up potential, even hail earlier this week, which was an above average risk for hail, but it's wind that does the most damage for us.
My favorite thing, Tricia Palmer from the National Weather Service says, wind is wind is wind is wind. So it doesn't matter. Like, look at the Cherville event. That was the story. That was a monster microburst that came from it. Also, in my experience, my first market, it was in Sioux City, Iowa. There was a severe thunderstorm warning that prompted winds of over 90 miles per hour, so a microburst. It physically was over a lake, blew boats out of the water. So I'm not saying we're going to see anything close to that, but then always just heed that you will have a chance for those stronger thunderstorms. And whenever it's hot and humid, you're going to have that potential, but I think Sunday is going to be a less chance. That moves on to story number 3, the heat. That heat and humidity will come together. Today, 89 degrees. We've done that a lot, Brittany, over the last few days. We were hit 90, 90, 90. Then we hit 89, 89. Today, it's going to be 89 or 90, but then things change for tomorrow.
Yeah, rapidly increasing the heat and the humidity. So not only will our temperatures reach likely their hottest of the year so far, hottest temperature so far for Charlotte at the airport has been 91. We'll likely get close to that on Saturday. But as the heat and humidity goes up, guess what else does? The heat index. We know this is a combination of heat and humidity, scientific little calculation based on, what it feels like on our skin, what happens when we sweat and have evaporative cooling and all that good stuff. We get even hotter. Sunday, though, that looks to kind of be the targeted day that we could see even a heat advisory issued.
Yeah, and heat advisories change from weather market to weather market. It just all depends. Actually, it's Lancaster that's under Columbia. They have a different criteria. This is coming from GSP, so that's Greenville, Spartanburg. 105 to 109 at any given point. There's not an hour set. If it's going to hit that any given point, there's going to be a heat advisory. So that's why likely we're going to have our first heat advisory of the year starting on Sunday, maybe on Monday. Just all depends there. Not excessive heat warning, though. So anything at 105, that's where it's starting to hit that danger level. Really, is anything over 103, that's where you have a better risk for heat exhaustion and so on and so on. So it's definitely going to feel more soupy, starting to get that danger level on Sunday. But this is just July. This is hot July weather just in time for the 4th of July weekend. So maybe if you can cool down, a friend with a pool, good idea. I'm calling you up later. Yeah.
And here's the thing. We haven't been this hot so far this year.
Yes.
So it's not something that's maybe necessarily abnormal for summer here, but it's the first one. It can catch us off guard. So we just want you to, of course, focus in on that. But, it was a pretty cool June. So if you're one of those who has been, messaging us on social media, emailing us saying, when is the hot weather coming? Well, welcome to July, everybody.
Careful what you wish for. And yeah, I just did some June stats. June, at least up to this point, we haven't had the June 30th stats. 21st coolest June on record. So July already off to a hot start. So it's been a while since we've been in the mid-90s. But hey, typical for July as we start the official start of Dog Days of Summer on July 3rd.
Can't wait.
Yay! Well, that's it for us. We'll continue to keep you updated through the weekend. Brittany is in Saturday. I'm actually in on Sunday. We'll be here for you as well as the rest of the WCNC weather team. Take care. Stay safe.